All right, Mama. What you rubbing on your hands there?
A little cedar wood.
Oh, little grounding.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get started. It's 4 o'clock. Welcome to Women's World of Wellness, where we have our amazing, beautiful, one of our wellness practitioners, Laura Medrano, and we wanted to do a live interview so everybody could get to know Laura a little bit better and get to know what floats her boat and how she started in the holistic world of living and teaching and coaching. So welcome, Laura. How are you today?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
You're
Wonderful.
welcome.
Yes.
Thank you for being a part of this journey that we're on here in Women's World of Wellness. I love it. And I know I've always known that you crossed my path for a reason and that we were meant to be in each other's lives.
Yeah.
Um, Even across the country, we've still remained friends. And so it's super cool that we get to do this journey together.
And I love new projects. So count me in when something's fresh and new.
Careful now, you might get a lot of calls. So fresh and so new. So Laura, tell us a little bit about your background. What do you do? How do you coach? How did you end up in the holistic space?
Yes. So my name is Laura, and I was the perfect ideal client. I had many of struggles, whether they were toxic relationships, not loving myself, not caring about my health. And I just kept bumping my head against the wall. And I just felt like, you know what? The common denominator here is me. So there's something that needs to change. And I was in my mid 30s. So that's one of my, strong points is that it's never too late, and I'm still learning to this day. So, a decade later, I'm still on the journey. It's not linear, it's a spiral. And so I'm continuing to learn and grow and gain wisdom. And I think a lot of it happened because of my struggles. It was something that was in me that I was like, look, I gave myself a hard look in the mirror.
Okay, that's hard to
And I
do for a lot of people, right?
Absolutely. So I started to get into healing and I didn't know what that looked like. I had no idea what that looked like, but I am big on when you are ready, the teacher will appear. And so as the student is ready, here comes the teacher. And I found my mentor who was my Reiki master. And she had taught me so many things. And it didn't start like that. It started with facing a lot of dark shadows. So it wasn't easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but if you're ready and willing, then let's go.
But would you say it's worth it, right? Because it's not easy, right? Nothing that's really worth it is easy.
It's
Oh,
not easy, but guess what? You have the choice. Like you get to pick, your heart. Like, do you want to go continue on the struggle bus or do you want to do like the work?
right. So tell us what like a pivotal moment in your life that made you finally realize that you were the common denominator, that you needed to look in the mirror at yourself.
Oh, that one was definitely in my toxic relationships. I was just attracting a lot of men that were not healthy for my future. So it was a series. It was one after the next. When I thought I got rid of one, then I was like, oh, here's the next one. But he had another toxic trait, but it was me that attracted that. So I had to look at that. It wasn't him. I wasn't pointing fingers. I had to look at like, why am I attracting that? So I think at one point I just got fed up and I said, I'm not doing this to myself anymore. And then I shut down all relationships and just worked on the relationship I have with myself.
I love that. I love that. So, did you have any challenges? Like, what was your biggest challenge through this process of self-discovery and self-realization, really is what it sounds like.
Yeah, so I feel like that I would self-medicate. Um, and I struggled with addiction because that was my way of distraction. And then I realized that that wasn't going to work for the long haul. And I'm thankful every single day that I can, wake up now. And this is many moons ago, but I could wake up now and look at like wow, like I didn't go down that timeline. That could have been detrimental. And I decided to end it right then and there. And figure out ways to actually love myself and have some self-worth and appreciate, why I had to go through all of those series of bad toxic relationships to get me to where I am now.
So when you say a while, how long would you, like, what was the major turning point journey? It's a process, right? And we're always healing. We're always self-reflecting. We're always learning new things and presented with things in different ways. When you say it's not for the faint of heart, I know that healing can be really long and hard. And I've had clients just be like, I just want to be done with this already. I'm like, it's just not how it works. What was the process for you? Like, how long was your process to where you felt like you were ahead of it to a degree that you could move forward in life?
Yeah, so from rock bottom until like I actually felt some process. I mean, I'd never really like to give it a timestamp because everyone is so different, but I would say a good solid year, even plus, that I just sat with myself alone with my thoughts. And I honestly called out and asked like my angels and my guides. I said, please, like, show me what there is, that I can do because I'm willing to do the work. I just didn't know how.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you know where did you get the how? Where did the how come from?
Yeah, so the how is still happening. Decades later, it really is. It's like I said, it's not linear. So it's not anything that you can say, oh, this is like the explosion. And that's just my own experience. Everybody is different. And that's what I always say. It's never just like one size fits all. Like there's no like just magic pill that you can take an overnight and tomorrow you start the new life. But you can take steps and there are like many steps, but my very first step, very first one is just to be aware of the issue. Like if you're not aware of it, then nothing is going to change and you're just going to still be on the Groundhog's Day, the cycle, and it's just going to be the same for you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
awareness.
That is why next week, our very first workshop within our community is all about self-awareness. Because honestly, it is the first step. Because if you're not aware of what's going on and you can't take ownership and responsibility, there will be no change because you're still looking outside of yourself.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
love that you said that because that's where we're starting off next Wednesday. Workshop one, self-awareness and mindset.
First step.
Yeah. So what would you tell your younger self if you knew all the things you know now and that little Laura?
I would say all this is happening for a reason. So I feel like my life has a lot of reference to the movie Karate Kid.
Okay. Okay.
Let me explain. So, as he's going through all of the series of prepping himself for fighting, he doesn't understand why he has to wax on and wax off and paint the fence. He doesn't
Right.
understand why he has to do any of that. But
Mhm.
once he gets into the ring, once he gets into the fight, all of those things come into play and he understands why he had to learn it the way he did.
It's funny that you say that because I just recently we watched the new Karate Kid,
Yeah.
and he was so mad that he kept having to take his jacket off and put it down. Take your jacket off, pick it up. Take your jacket off, pick it up. And it was weeks of that. And then he learned how that interplayed with blocking and karate and all of that stuff. But it seemed so mindless and frustrating at the time. And there was so much purpose behind it.
So much purpose.
That's a good reference. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think people can relate to that too, because it's like, oh yeah, there is. I've always said, and I really think if you can find purpose in what's happening in your life, it's a lot easier to move through life and move through the things that are happening because you know there is a purpose and you seek the purpose rather than the why.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between what's the purpose and why is this happening to me.
Exactly.
It's not
Exactly.
happening to you, it's happening for you. And if you can find the purpose, it's going to be a lot easier to accept and move through.
So there's always a reason.
Always, always a reason. All right, Mama. So how do you, like you said, you're still evolving, right? We're all still evolving. What keeps you motivated? What keeps you going forward?
I think that I am driven by, I love to feed people with inspiration. I love to feed them with like new ideas. And we're at such a pivotal moment in our world and on our earth right now that there's gonna have to be new things that happen. So I feel like I'm one of those way showers. I'm one of those catalysts to like, let's start the new earth now. So that way we can build afresh while the old dismantles and crumbles.
Yeah, so talk a little bit more about that because I know you're really, I see your posts and personally I know you, so I know your mindset, but I'd love to share that concept because some people may hear you say that and be like, what the heck is she talking about? So go in a little more detail on that.
Yeah, so and I'll definitely tie that into like my whole reason for why I'm so passionate about nutrition and food because it makes full circle there. I have Native American ancestry, so on my father's side, I you wouldn't guess it by looking at me, but I'm the one in the family who got picked to like have a lot of that ancestry put into place. And my grandfather taught me so much about plants and healing without even realizing it. Like he would take me out into the garden and give me some mint and be like, oh, if you have a stomach ache, this is what you eat. I would be in the kitchen with my grandmother where she's cooking, and it was just the energy that was flowing in the kitchen that I just absorbed. And I'm very much into that, the nature and the cooking aspect, and we can heal our bodies with food. But I also, going back to what was it? I'm sorry, the food or the
So,
inspiration, oh, the new earth. So
yeah, the crumbling of the old.
yeah, like I mean, obviously there's so many systems in place right now that are not working. Whether it's the food, whether it's the education, whether it's the government, whether it's the media. I mean, you can narrow it down to so many things that just aren't working anymore. And the reason being is because we're going into the golden age. So it's the golden age of Aquarius, which is going to be new and different. So no wonder why the old isn't working anymore because it's not supposed to. So people have to let go of that old paradigm of like, but we forcing when you want to have control of everything. Guess what? That it just goes right through your fingers. Like it's just not going to work anymore. So instead of forcing the old, we have to create a new system, and you have to have a new system established in order to choose, because the old can dismantle, but you have to have something new to lean towards, to focus on, to put your energy towards. So that's what you're supposed to put your energy into something you're passionate about. That's why I live for excitement. I live for fun. And it might be a little bit of a, you know, I have to balance that a little bit better, but it's like that's what leads me to new opportunities. That's what it fills me with joy. And so when I get excited about a new project, like I said, like I live for that. And that's what we're here to create. We're here to create a new entire earth.
Where have you seen a lot of falling away? I see it a lot in my practice and what I do. I'm obviously seeing it a ton in people's personal lives, in their relationships, in their lifestyles, in their family dynamics, career wise. And because, being a wellness and life coach, I deal with a lot of that personal stuff with people. And
Yeah.
I mean, the old ways just don't work. They just don't work, which is why we're having such a hard time with the older parenting to the newer parenting, or, in the way that what people are craving, like divorce rates are higher, women are changing. Like there's definitely an evolution of human design happening along with the world. Where are you seeing it a lot?
Well, sometimes I think it's just because it's my passion and what I live for is the healthcare. Healthcare is not really healthcare, it's sick care. So they want you to stay sick because Big Pharma is a big business that makes a ton of money.
Dollar
Money is
dollar bill, y'all.
control. Yeah, money is
Gotta be careful.
power.
YouTube's gonna take us off. So is Facebook for sure.
Already on my first interview. You're gonna have to use code words.
I didn't click the right link for us to be talking about these things. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, so healthcare, I mean, that's I think the biggest department for me, and that's why we have to create new systems that implement preventative medicine, healing from plants. You can't patent plants. So that's why there's no money in it. So
Right.
they don't want you to know that you can heal yourself with nature, with earth, with with what source gave us.
Yeah. That's a huge message. And it's a very much like a light bulb goes off for people when we're talking about nutrition and we're talking about health. And I always come back to what was given to us on this earth to nourish us, right? Now, yes, humankind has manipulated and messed with it. But if there's anything to be and to fear, it would be all of the food in the grocery stores that are packaged and processed on the shelves, and all of the different byproducts that are meat products and the way they're farmed and all of this type of stuff, versus just coming back to what was created to nourish us, that grows from the earth, what was put here to fuel us and give us our nutrients. And
Yeah.
it's so simple,
Yes.
right?
That's what I was gonna say. It's right in front of our face. It's so easy. It's we just complicated it so much and we made it a mess.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know
and
what?
I agree in the medicine factor too, is that the doctors don't talk to people. So people don't feel good and they go to see the doctor to get help, and the doctor is just giving them medication to make them feel better, which is a band-aid. But the doctors also don't know. They are not trained in nutrition. They are
Yeah.
not trained in holistic. They're trained in treatment, not prevention.
Yes, and there's a whole disconnect there, and it's not to say anything bad because huge disclaimer on the medical field. Like, if I was to get in a car accident or break my arm or anything, like, heck yes, I'm going to go to the ER, and I'm so thankful for their knowledge and expertise in
Absolutely.
surgeries and that type of thing. But we have to be an advocate for our own health and not put it into the power of anybody else's hands,
Right.
including doctors, the nurses. Like, they're not here to save you. You're here to save you.
Yeah. Well, and just like you said, is be your own advocate. So that means you can get your diagnosis and you can see all of your options. But educating yourself and talking to a nutritionist and talking to your doctor and kind of marrying and bridging the gap between the two is really ideal. And I do hope that our future does hold that. Um, that would be great. I hope it moves in that direction. But like you said, old's falling away, news being rebirthed. Some people like to call Chinese medicine woo woo, and it's been around for ever, right?
Mhm.
And other countries all practice natural medicine. It's just here we're just new and we have Western medicine, but natural medicine and healing with plant medicine and nutrition and even meditation and Reiki and all of those things are have been around for so long and have worked for so long that I'm super excited for us to be able to bring more awareness to it. But those things are not new.
Exactly. Exactly. They've been here. And that's what I say. It's very parallel to how healing is in yourself. Like you already have the answers. It's already in you. There's nothing that you need to go outside of yourself to go search for or look for. Because people are like, what's my purpose? What do I do? Where do I go? Who do I talk to? It's really deep down inside. And so to bring it all like full circle, it's about chiseling away all of those external layers, the distractions, and just the overwhelm that we put on ourselves, like on the daily, the stress overload, and really getting down deep and being silent with yourself and listening to your intuition, listening to your gut. And you do have the answers inside, I promise.
I agree.
Yeah.
So tell us how your business in this field plays. What tell us about how you integrate. I know you're a microgreens enthusiast. I love it. You're in what was your Reiki room, still your Reiki room, but also your what do
My
you call
green,
it?
my green room
Your
too. Yeah.
green room. Yeah. So tell us about the microgreens and everything that you guys are doing. You're doing some amazing stuff.
Yeah, so this past year and a half, I took a deep dive into growing our own food. And I decided to experiment because I love the kitchen. And I decided to, implement it into my diet was microgreens. And I realized how easy it is to grow. You don't need a green thumb. I'm not like one of those people who like lived outside in the garden. I just dabbled a little bit and I realized this is for people who don't have a lot of time, who want something fast, who want to grow organic food and to be self-sustainable. This is, so easy to do on your kitchen counter. You don't need all the extra fancy equipment, and they're highly, highly nutritious. So it's getting like all your vitamins and minerals and all, antioxidants that we're missing in today's diet, getting it into our food. And I have like a little sample here. So this is microgreens right here. This is kale. So this is
Oh, okay,
baby kale,
okay.
just the very first true leaf of that. But if you eat like, just a little portion here, you're getting up to like 40 times the amount of nutrients of eating the adult kale. Who's going to eat like a whole bunch of adult kale unless you're putting it in a juice or something like that? Usually it's just a decoration on your plate.
Yeah, right.
But just filled with nutrients, and we grow everything indoors. So I always tell people, oh, they say I don't have acres of land. I'm like, you
Right.
don't need a lot of space. We grow everything indoors. We've converted a spare room into a green room, and they're just so easy to do. And we are going into more of the farm to table type of eating nowadays, instead of the vegetables that we get at the grocery store, who knows what they're sprayed with, who knows what chemicals, how long they stayed on a truck to go across, or if they're even imported internationally. Like, we don't know those things. So instead of worrying about where that produce came from, why not grow it yourself and you know exactly where it came from? Like, we use non-GMO seeds, we use no chemicals or fertilizers or pesticides in our soil, we use filtered water. I'm big on the filtered water. So it's just kind of changing some habits. And if you don't want to grow it yourself, then going to the local farmers market and buying them, like supporting local instead of, we're getting rid of, all those big gigantic corporations that are all about greed, and we're moving into more local, sustainable, organic style growing. And so why not support your local farmer? Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, so big on that.
I love that. I will tell you, being a California girl, now living in South Florida, the local farmers market has stickers on the produce, just like the grocery store. So it's not farm fresh to table. So for those of us like myself, and I know there's a lot of people that live all over and may have plenty of land and they can go to these amazing farmers markets and get fresh produce. But for those of us that can't, I know you shipped me a box to, and I'm going to tell you it's still in the box because I'm so terrible. I need to just do it. I need to just do it. I know Jimmy would give me a very hard time if he knew it was still in the box because last time I was out there, he did. And that was like a year ago. So I know that you ship them though. So tell everybody, if they want to grow their microgreens, how do they go about that with you?
Yeah, so I do ship starter kits. It's not the actually grown microgreens because these puppies are too delicate. So we do ship the starter kits, which you get to choose your choice of seeds, and then in 10 days you'll have a whole tray of food. Super easy to do, very minimal, but it is, taking another, bite off of something that, if you have the time to put in, it's really not that hard. All you have to do is give them like lots of love and watering once a day. Super simple to do on your kitchen counter. So yes, I mean, it is possible, but I always tell people like never take, a bite off more than you could chew.
Right, right. Well, it's okay. So what would we do with the microgreens? Because they stay micro, they stay babies like that. That's their
Yeah,
term, right?
you
So
want
what
to eat
would
them.
one do with
Yeah,
it?
you want to eat them at the baby stage because that's when they're so concentrated with all the nutrients. And if you have any like autoimmune or any ailments in your body, they are so prone to help healing and aid in the healing of your body. Um so yeah, you want to eat them at that baby stage. There's this perfect window that you want to harvest them and eat them. If they grow too much, if they get the second true leaf, then they're going to taste bitter and they're already growing into that adult vegetable stage. So perfect window for eating them at this age. And even the kids love them. Like we add them to smoothies. I'm putting them on soups, salads, even pizza, scrambled eggs, breakfast burritos. And I tell people you don't need to reinvent the wheel in the kitchen. You just have to put them on whatever it is that you're eating already. Like I'll even do some cheats here and there. If we have takeout food, I'm going to put my microgreens on top of the egg rolls that I just got. So there's no need for overthinking it in the kitchen. You don't have to be a chef.
And so you just eat them raw like that. It's not, we don't cook them, we don't put them in our recipes. It's just a topper.
It's pretty much just the topper. You don't want to cook them because then you'll deplete some of the nutritional value. But if I make a stir fry, I'm going to put them on top of that right after it's done.
What kind of microgreens are out there? Because I know there's way more than I even anticipated. You said that one was kale.
Yeah,
And I
so
know you have a ton, right?
there's at least 30 plus different varieties. I always tell people it's like wine. You want to eat the one that you like. They all taste different. They all do different things for you. So it just really depends. I would say the most popular, the best selling is the broccoli. And the reason being because it's the most concentrated in nutrients. So we even have cancer patients that are recovering and they come to us getting their broccoli microgreen supply to aid in their healing of their health.
Wow,
So,
that's
and
amazing.
yeah, broccoli is very universal. So it doesn't have like a very strong flavor, kind of mild. It goes with everything. So yeah, we have different ones. We're even growing CBD. So we even have CBD as one of
Wow.
our herbs. And we have a animal rescue foundation that we have teamed up with and we grow the CBD for them, for their goats and their chickens that have
Oh,
health ailments.
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So where do you guys sell them? How does one get in touch with you? Even, and this is even jumping the gun, but I know
Yes.
you guys have a lot of different ways that you're getting them out.
So we just started our new adventure on YouTube and we have a microgreens channel. It's called Jim's Crop Circle. So it's named after my husband and he and I teamed up together because he's more of the farming aspect and I do more of the nutrition aspect. So brand new channel that we just launched about a month ago and we have videos on not only how to grow them, but what to eat them with, their nutritional benefits, and also recipes. So it's just going to be like a collaboration of all things microgreens on this channel.
Okay, awesome. So is that your newest big project that you have going on right now?
I would say yes, absolutely. I wear a lot of hats and I like my hands
You.
in a lot of different projects, but that's what keeps me stimulated. Like it's not for everybody. So some people have to like focus one way. I like to have like a multiple things. And so yeah, YouTube, it's called Jim's Crop Circle that we just launched. And of course, I have my own personal like Instagram, which is just under my name. It's Laura_Medrano on Instagram, where you can get all things healing with food.
Okay. And then do you ship them out? Like, can people order them?
Yes. So that would, you know what, that would be on Jim's Crop Circle on the YouTube, and I have all the information in the description below.
Okay, awesome. I love that. I need to grow mine.
Yes.
But like you said, you can only do so much, and that just has not been a priority. I do my juicing every week. Like I have my things that I do for my nutrition and everything, but I know you've given me and brought me microgreens when I come visit in California, and I always am like, oh, I need to make mine, but I haven't done so yet. So
Yes.
make it a challenge. We're gonna make it a challenge. You're gonna have to challenge me to grow my microgreens.
Day one.
Yeah, not today.
Yeah.
Maybe another day. So tell us what else you do. I know microgreens enthusiast, that's like the more recent, not recent, the last couple of years, but you've been a Reiki master for how long? Talk a little bit about your energy work and all of that you do.
Yes, I would say that's going on 7 years now. And like I said, it all started with the healing. Like I was once a client, so I experimented with Reiki, and I just realized I like to call it energy healing, just because giving titles or names to things, it's like people can always get like detoured. But
Mhm.
we all have the power to help like heal ourselves, let alone like our arena. And I'm telling you, like even in our green room, people ask me like, why do your greens grow so good? And I'm like, well, it's infused with my Reiki energy. I my husband sings to the plants and I do Reiki. I had a client this morning, so I could do virtually or I could do in person because it's all about the energetics behind it. But it's my main focus is always giving a person clarity and then going on to the next step. So I'm kind of like the activator. I'm the person who's like the catalyst, like to let's get that spark going that you have internally. Let's get you moving and then move you on to the next step. So yeah, day one right here.
Yeah, I love that. So how would somebody, let's say somebody who doesn't really know a lot about Reiki or a lot about energy healing, but they're struggling in life, they feel stuck, they're not happy. How would somebody understand exactly how Reiki can help them and what that can do for them?
So it's all energy. It's not something that you can really see with your eyes. And a lot of people need, that something to see to make them believe that it exists. And I am like, let's cut that all out. And
Hmm.
how does it make you feel? Like, how do you feel on the inside? So Reiki is something that you can understand more with your heart than you can your logical mind. So you have to get your logical mind out of the way. Like, let's not overthink this. There's not a textbook to memorize. There's not a test to do. It has nothing to do with that. It's very heart-centered. And what it comes down to is like that unconditional love that we should have for every single thing that exists on this planet, whether you can see it or not.
So how does one transition and shift from a negative space into being ready to get, because you have to be ready, right? You have to be open.
You know what? You have to be open-minded, but you don't have to necessarily believe that it works. You just have to be a willing participant.
Okay. I'm
Yeah.
I've always been such a believer that I'm like, I don't have to believe anything, like I don't have to see anything to believe it. I believe anything is possible. So I've always just been super open. And I've done a lot of Reiki sessions with you. I've done a ton of Reiki sessions over my healing journey. Um, but I've never been closed off to it. So I don't know if someone who's like, skeptical about it, is it still going to help them?
Those are my favorite people.
Oh, perfect. Because
Yes.
you're the spark girl. You set the spark.
Absolutely. Like I said, they just have to be a willing participant because I will never go against anybody's free will. And, I will never, give that energy to anybody who doesn't want it. But if you are open and willing and you're skeptical, like, come on over. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I love that because it goes directly where it needs to go. You may set the intention that you need it for your physical body, but if there's something that's really taxing you emotionally, the Reiki energy is going to go directly where it needs to go.
So I want to touch on just real quick with the energy work because I know how valuable it is. And even in a space in personal training, and I just had a nutrition consultation with someone who has chronic digestive gut health issues. I've worked, obviously, that's one of my specialties is gut health issues. So I work with a lot of people. And so often, and sometimes it's hard for people to wrap their head around, but their gut health issues, their physical pain, what they think are ailments is actually stored trauma. It's stored energy. So how to, like bridging the gap for people to understand that your physical ailment, your constipation that you have not been able to go to the bathroom for 5 days, is got nothing to do with your gut and more to do with trauma and pent up energy, right?
Yeah, and so the way that I would explain that is because let's see. I really want to say this the right way.
It's
Yeah,
hard to say for people to fully, be able to understand the concept.
to grasp it. Yes. So that's why I infuse Reiki with almost everything that I do. Like I do it with my writing, I do it with my growing my plants, I do it with my food, I do it with the daily practice. It's just something that's in me to like aid in the healing, to be like that extra oomph that I need. And when people don't see that connection, it's okay, because sometimes it's going to be there, and you can help bridge that gap. You can help them, connect the two together, because I get it. And sometimes it's not for us to understand. It's not for, it could be ancestral trauma that we don't even know about in this lifetime. It could be something that happened in their past that they choose to block out. And that's what I love about the Reiki energy, without going through, like, you have to unpack all of your trauma and talk therapy about it, which talk therapy is great. But this is something that goes directly where it needs to go without having to unpack all of that. So it's just kind of like a little shortcut, a little zap, a little zinger.
A little zinger. I remember last time you did my Reiki, you said you felt a lot of electricity and a lot of sparks. And that's what that just reminded me of, because you were like, I felt a lot of zings and
Yes, and we are electric, we're magnetic, and we're connecting to the earth from the sun, and we're just like that right in between. And so, you know, energy is real, whether you see it or not.
science. You can't argue science, right? We are all energy. Everything is energy. And
Yeah,
energy gets stuck, and energy can get clogged up, and energy can cause a lot of physical and emotional effects that we can
yeah,
feel symptoms necessary. You could call symptoms every day that we don't realize is in the subconscious, which you can't talk out
exactly. And that's
because
why
it's not
Reiki.
your conscious mind.
Yes, and that's why Reiki could just be a good assistant, like
Yeah.
just a good aid, a good helpful tool. And it
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's for everybody, because I say, like, go experiment, go try something else. Maybe, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's talking to somebody. There's so many different things that it's never going to be like, this is the package and you need to follow it step by step. Sometimes I like to start with things that don't sound typical, or, the average.
hmm Yeah. And that's exactly why this passion project of the women's world of wellness was something that I wanted. I've always wanted to have kind of a one-stop shop for wellness. And in my vision, it was always like a building, right? A brick and mortar, until I lost my resistance to virtual, because I
Yeah.
always had this resistance to virtual, which is gone now, thanks to all my practices. But there, like you said, there are so many modalities to being healthy physically and mentally. The umbrella is like so big that it's exactly why I wanted a community like this, to where I can bring all different people. I can bring you. We've got Ingrid, we've got Marcy. I've got all these guest speakers coming in, and everybody has something different to bring, because it is not a one size fits all. And I know that in my practices, in my lifestyle outside of my coaching, I use all the modalities, but I'm
Mhm.
not an expert in teaching all of the modalities, right? I have my expertise, but there's so many different ways. And I'm always recommending to clients, like, hey, you got to go to, if they're here local, I'm like, go see Ingrid. You've got some like deep inner work. Like, there's a lot we can do on the conscious level, but when you're going in the subconscious space, and that, to some people, they don't know what that means and what it looks like. So there's a little bit of like, they've got to be ready to do that, because it can unpack things. But just like you said, you could journal, you can meditate. Like, I think you should do them all. I
Well,
think ideally we're doing all of it.
yeah, and if you grow out of one, it's okay. Like, you could definitely grow out of one and move on to another. And just because, yeah, does it resonate with you? I always ask people, like, how does that feel? Because it doesn't mean that just because it works for somebody else that it's going to work for you too.
Right. Right. And I think that's with everything in life. It is. It really is. I mean, it's like that with exercise. It's like that with nutrition. I mean, just with all the people that we come in contact in coaching, you hear so many different things, and you see so many different success stories come in different ways and different modalities. And there is no right or wrong. And that's where I did have someone who's like, well, I want to journal and I'm watching all these videos to see the right way to do it. And I'm like, you right there. There's
Yeah.
no right or wrong. Just I can give you tips on where to get started with it and all the different ways you can use it, but you can't go wrong.
Yeah. And
You
you
just
just have to go.
You just have to do. You just have to do and see what sits and see what makes you feel better. I knew when I was got my first few Reiki sessions and hypnotherapy sessions, that was how I started my healing, my spiritual healing journey. I didn't know what it was doing and I wasn't doing anything, but I knew I felt better every time I left. And that's what made me go back. I'm like, I feel great. Like I felt so good and light and happy that I just wanted to keep going. And that just kind of made me go deeper and deeper each time because I wanted to feel that. And there was days where I was like so excited to meditate. You know, when you're going through it and you're in that deep healing, it's like it's a happy place,
Yeah. Gives you a dopamine.
a peaceful place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with everything going on and you've got your microgreens, you're doing your Reiki healing, you're putting that into everything. You are going to be teaching a workshop for us on October 9th.
Yes.
Do you have an idea that you can kind of let us know what to expect?
So it's going to be called Nourish to Flourish.
I love
And yeah, so it's about nourishing your body, but also, your mind and your spiritual and your emotional. So it kind of ties in everything together to nourish yourself.
that. Okay, I can't wait for that. So that's going to be 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that'll be 2.
Yes.
11, 12, 1, 1 to 2. 2.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd make sure I schedule that right. It's this time zone thing. So that'll be 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Mountain Time can figure it out. Central Time can figure that out. I don't know all the time zones. It's not my expertise. But so that will be a great way to have one-on-one with you. And are they going to be participating or is this more of a just listen and take notes type workshop?
I mean, I absolutely love participation. I always feel like can lead a round table instead of talking and barking at people because nobody really wants to, you know, feel that way. So I love interaction. I love questions. I
Okay.
love, that just them unpacking everything that they want to learn. And I'm very intuitive based, obviously. So if I feel like one thing is guided in the group, a little bit more than something else, then I'll leave something else out that maybe just doesn't feel as important. So spontaneity is my jam.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so then anybody joining next, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? The 9th is
It's
Wednesday.
on Wednesday the 9th. Yes,
Wednesday the 9th. So they can expect to participate then
absolutely.
and engage and ask questions and be involved. I
Mm,
also prefer that in my workshops as well.
yeah. I mean, anything cooking, nutrition, homestead, microgreens, like that is kind of like my arena of
Awesome.
what I'll be sharing. Yeah, on Wednesday.
Yay. Well, I'm so excited that we got to get to know you a little bit. We got to talk a little bit and understand kind of the direction that this community not is going in, but it is the direction we're going in. It's the direction we're starting in. It's the
Yeah.
direction we will be in. This is the space. This is the type of conversations you can expect. This is what this community is all about, is bringing all the different modalities that so many of us have to offer in different expertise in different areas. And I love that we have all had our own personal journeys and that we didn't just go to school to come teach, right? As much as accreditations and, you know, we do have certificates and we are educated in what we're doing, but it started with our own personal journey that led us to wanting to help guide and lead others to facilitate and make it a little bit easier to navigate than
Yeah.
what it might be just out Googling it or trying to follow people on social media and you don't know what you're going to get. So I love that we have you and the other girls and everyone else to bring all of this to our amazing community. I'm super excited about it.
Absolutely.
Quick,
Yes.
quick last plug for yourself, how people can find you and learn more or get in touch with you.
Yes, I would definitely say Instagram is the very first go-to for all things nutrition, homestead, cooking, health. That's my name. So Laura_Medrano. And then if you really want to deep dive into microgreens, then the YouTube channel is Jim's Crop Circle.
Awesome. And then Laura is also in the community, and you'll always be able to chat with her that way, reach out to her that way. So she's available through our platforms on Women's World of Wellness. So you can always catch up with her there, visit her personally, and come check her out on her workshop. She's going to be doing one workshop a month. So you're going to get to learn all kinds of amazing things. And like we said, this month, October 9th, at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Um, and then whatever, she decides to put in the group, it's all just for you guys. So if there's anything specific that you want to learn or that you would like Laura to bring to you, let us know. Reach out to us, give us messages, email, whatever is convenient for you. But we are here to serve and guide you.
Love
All
it.
right, Laura, thank you so much for coming on. I love talking to you as always. We're always in alignment.
Yes. Thank you for having
Um,
me. It was a lot of fun and I can't wait to connect with everyone else.
Yay, awesome. Well, we will see you on Wednesday for your microgreen, or not microgreens class, but nutrition,
Nourish
energy,
to flourish.
nourish to flourish. I love it. All right, so we'll see you on Wednesday next week. No, the
Okay,
week
sounds
after.
good. Yeah. All
It'll be
right.
fun. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.